mentality when we would drink a little bit, cut each other up sometimes on the weekend, but you didn't see the murders, you didn't see the horrendous things that started happening when crack and heroin and everything started spreading in the community. This destroyed us basically as a people. You look at the Indians, you look at the Italians, you look at everybody that have come over here and how they have their communities and how they still look out for each other. We have lost that, and we had that. And I feel that drugs is one of the main elements that brought us down to the stage that we are at now. When you sell drugs, you are selling out yourself, your family, and your people. You are selling your soul. You are doing anything for $1. Will you do anything for $1? I used to ask guys in the penitentiary, like, what is the reason if a guy said that he would give you $1,000 that you wouldn't go in his cell and give him head? Why wouldn't you give him head? And most people said, out of principle. I wouldn't do that out of principle because I wouldn't do anything for $1. Now, you are doing some foul things when you sell drugs. It's a lot of murders, it's a lot of misery, it's a lot of pain connected with what you are doing. So, are you acting with principles? Or are you like an ostrich with your head in the sand? Are you overlooking the truth? Or is it to the point that you just do not understand politics and you do not understand that they are using you because they need these bodies in the penitentiary to fill these cells up? And prison is a booming business. And they are using you the same way they was going over Africa and putting you on the slave ship. You are doing the same thing, you're just doing it in a different way now. You're just a different slave at a different time. You're doing different work, but you're still a slave. You need to go to school. You need to try to get a trade. You need to at least get your GED. Then you can go to different schools. You can come up with your own business. The best thing is something that you can come up on your own, not working for somebody else. You are still young. You still have your life ahead of you. Fast money, getting a little fast money for drugs is not worth it because eventually you're going to get busted. And when you get busted, you're giving away one of the most precious things that God done gave you, and that's your youth. You're losing your youth in a place when they're telling you when to go to eat, when to shower, who that you're going to live with, and you're always going to be living in a cell with somebody that you don't like. It's a terrible, terrible thing to go through, and it's not worth it. And that's all I can say. I went through it and I lived it a long time. It's not worth it. The people, the youngster that I talked to before I came home, just about every one of them said, Hashim, I would have never shot that guy. I would have never robbed that place if I knew it was like this. If I knew that I had to cry at night and that I couldn't see my girl, that my daughter is looking at me crying like, Pop, when you coming home? If I knew this, it's no in the world I would have did what I did. And I'm trying to talk to you now before you get in that position. Because once you get in that position with 25 or 30 years, it's too late. I can't help you. Jawanza can't help you. None of us can help you. Now you're wearing your mother and father. I need some sneakers. Could you come down and visit me? Why you weren't down here last Sunday? Why are you going? Why would you put yourself in a position to go through that? It's not worth it.
Another thing I want, you touched on it a little bit. It's so essential because that's what I find that you and I share that I haven't seen a lot of. I hear a lot of people saying, well, you know, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. Well, our approach is a little different. Not only do we talk about the counterproductive things that we see, but we also deal with youth that are being productive.
Right, exactly.
When we come up with, you know, solutions to show them things that they can do. Even in our situation, as fate would have it, you and I shared the same parole officer or whatever, but we show them that you can be a filmmaker.
Right.
You don't have to be a rapper. You can be a producer. You can do commercials. I mean, to be honest with you, most drug dealers are very creative people.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
they can take that counterproductive attitude, and if you can make it on the street with all the foolishness going on, you definitely can make it in corporate America.
Yes. Yes.
So, our focus is our youth. We've had, my congrats to you that we have certain publications that are getting ready to feature you. My hat goes off to you. Appreciate your work. But it's so vital that we all work together, because for some strange reason, the media tends to want to capitalize on sadness, on deterioration. Let me ask you this then: why do you think that when our approach is to the media, saying, look, we need to save our children, based on we're not talking about from you and our perspective, we talking about from the mothers that you and I talk to,
right,
who've lost children, or they come to us after their children to get 25 or 30 years, and there's really nothing we can do but comfort and console them and try to save the next. Why do you think the media tends to sort of throw dirt on the positivity that people like you and I do?
I've been trying to understand that since I've been home, but you are correct, and I've been seeing it. It's like I went to several people at the Richmond Times-Dispatch, and some of these people used to write articles about me that was very negative when I was inside, and they made it like a sensational thing. And it seems like they have no interest in the work, the type of work that we are trying to do, the productivity that we're doing within the community and working with these children. And I think this should be paramount right now, and I think it should be put in the papers, and it should be put on the news that it is people like us that are out here trying to do something worthwhile to save our children, and this is the only future that we have. I can't understand exactly why they're doing it. Maybe this is selling the papers more, the negative stuff, the murders. A lot of people don't even like to read the news anymore because everything is so negative. But they need to put something else in there dealing with the positive work that people like us, there's so many, it's not that many, but there's a few of us out here that is really standing up to do the right thing to save our children. And hopefully, if they ever see this tape, that they will understand that they should do more to put situations like this in the papers and to talk about it, to inspire the youngsters themselves to say, okay, there's somebody out here that cares about us, and they've been through all of this hell, and they don't have to do this, but they still care about us enough to put themselves out here and to do everything they can to help us.
My last question, if you want, my last bit of information, but I'm willing to talk about whatever you want, is this. I've run into, like, with the first DVD, mine, Yes We Can Recover, the DVD on addiction and recovery. When I've shown it to people, I often get the response, well, you're doing it for the money. Well, I myself, I'm a 7-time felon. It's basically, I'm not going to say impossible, but it's very hard for me to get a job.
Right.
My daughter cannot eat rocks or sand. So I need money to survive like any other human individual who goes to work.
Right.
Not only are we doing it to help people, but we do want to be compensated.
Right.
And if anybody's looking at this video, if you're at work right now and you're working for free, my hat is off to you.
Yeah.
But if you go to work and you just go to work to volunteer, then you have some sort of economic stabilization, which we do not have. My question to you is this. If you could just say something to those people who look at us and say, well, they doing it for the money, when we actually aren't, because if it was, we would have been stopped.
Right.
We've been doing this now going on 2 years, and to their dismay, I haven't really received a dime.
Right.
To what people may believe, it's a struggle. Things
Right.
is getting better,
Right.
but it's a struggle. But to those individuals who are so negative, who want to look down on our record, look down on our inspiration, and look down on our drive to want to be a strive to move a country that voted for change, what would you tell them?
Well, the first thing I would say is too many of them out there that have a crab in a basket syndrome, because we are trying to rise to help other people rise behind us or with us. And to do that, we need what you call enough money to survive. Right now, it's so difficult for an ex-felon to get a job. I make speeches, and a lot of times people want me to do it for free. We write things and people want us to do it for free. Even if we ask the papers to do certain things for us, they want us to do it for free. I think that is part of this syndrome of jealousy and envy that a lot of people have towards people like us that are no longer doing negativity, and that is standing up and trying to be productive and trying to help people at the same time. I'm hoping that they will understand that in order for us to continue to grow and rise as a people, they need to be with us. They need to be a foundation to give us something legitimate to say, well, they are doing something. They are doing good things. And we hope that the children will listen to them. We hope that they can save somebody. The money, sure, we need money for speaking engagement. We need money for some of the products that we're putting out. And we're putting out good products. We're not just throwing stuff out there and saying, okay, well, buy this or whatever, and it's no good. We're putting stuff out where the parents can get something out of it, wherein the children can get something out of it, wherein the drug dealers can get something out of it, wherein all of the people that is negative in the community can get something positive out of it. The parents right now, a lot of parents are not parenting good, and they are not producing good children, decent children, children that care about doing the right thing. And if what we are doing is helping just a little bit, then the media and all of you that are talking against us, you need to be ashamed of yourself, because you are not helping. You are detrimental. You are being detrimental to the progress that we are trying to make in the community. We want these communities to flourish, to grow, and we want our children to be strong and wise and noble. And we are just a few. We need way more people doing what we are doing. But being that we're the only few out here that are focused and doing these things, then help us. Don't destroy or try to be detrimental to what we're doing. Because if you're doing that, then you're detrimental toward the progress of the children in the community and the people in the community that's trying to help the children.
That's what's kind of mind-boggling to me, because tragedy can strike anywhere.
Right.
I don't care if you live in a $5 million mansion or you live in a $2 project. The reality of the situation is a lot of people use narcotics.
Right.
Both white and black. I've dealt with it on both levels. And what I've come to know is, unless you have some type of support, we will continue to do the same thing, which is the definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. I've done it for years. I'm a product of my environment. But what I do know is this: it's not productive to your lifestyle. I've lost so many years with that mentality. Right. I've been robbed. I've been bamboozled. The prison system is not sweet. Rappers have lied. Nothing is cool about going to jail or prison. You really destroy. Listen, when you go to jail, prison, especially if you go for a murder or robbery, not only do you destroy your life, but the individual life you may have taken, you destroy that person's life and anybody's life connected to that person.
Right.
And you don't feel it until you hit that jail and you get them warrants and it says your name versus whichever state that you are in. It is so disheartening when you go to the law library and you see that your guidelines run from 15 to 30 years.
Right.
I mean, I just don't understand that we try so hard. And the thing about it is this: it's so easy to watch a game and say, yeah, such and such could have did this, or such and such could have did that if you on the bench. But if you in the game, then you can complain.
Right.
And that's my thing to the media out there. I don't care who it is. I'm telling you, if you out here in these streets and you talking to kids, my head is off to you.
Right.
But don't sit at home and tell me that I'm doing this just for the money. When I'm out there in the streets, the kids know me. My reputation precedes me.
Exactly.
I don't have anything to hide. It is what it is. I am who I am. But I'm out there trying to make a difference. I have a young daughter. She's 14. I love her to death. The kids all over the city love me. And like with the first movie, you know, it had a little cursing in the music, but that's how we're going to attract the youth. We're not going to attract them with gospel music. That's not what they are.
Right.
And you have to deal with people where they are. Because a lot of people say, well, I wouldn't show it to the kids, but the kids, it got cursing in it. Listen, your kid's smoking weed. Your kid's selling crack. Your kid's shooting dope. Your kid's robbing people. Your kid's tricking with tricks. I mean, let's get honest and real. I mean, until we get honest with ourselves, when we just gonna be living a lie and paying lawyer fees.
Right.
It's ugly out there, and I think people they have a false reality of what's going on.
Yeah.
It's not pretty out there. I wouldn't say 90% of the kids, but I say roughly about 8 out of every 10 kids are probably using some type of drug.
Yeah.
And it's awful. You talking about cursing in the music. Have you look, do this for all of y'all who've been so negative and want to kind of distort what we're doing. Do what I do. Go to the Boys and Girls Club. Go to a lot of the community centers. Go in the hood, whichever hood it is. I don't care if it's a $300,000 hood or projects. Kids gonna be kids, and they all gonna make. Go around some kids if they gonna talk to you, because they talk to us because they know we real.
Right.
But go around some kids and listen to them talk. And then you tell me that the message isn't good. Because the kids feel it. But the thing is this. They don't see enough productivity coming from where they are. They see you and I, that's not enough. And like you said, the parents, you know, for some other reason, I mean, it may not be their fault because we all have faults, but when a parent lacks, it should be somebody else in the community that should be able to stand right there.
Right.
What do you think, as far as a platform that we can do to better create awareness so our children don't have to perish? So I mean, so we can get back to having black lawyers and black doctors. There's more black men going to prison that are in law school, colleges, or professional professions. How can we reinstill that back in the black community?
Well, I think the main thing is for us to deal with the principle of service. And when I say that, any one of us that gain anything, we need to use that. Like Jesus said, feed my sheep. When he said, feed my sheep, and he asked different disciples, do you believe in me? And they said, yes. Then he said, feed my sheep. When he was talking about help the people, put clothes on them. If they're hungry, feed them. It's too many people, I feel, in this country right now. You got a lot of people that was almost sleeping in cars, didn't have nothing. And because of they could sing, or they had a certain talent, even playing ball or whatever, they become rich overnight. And then they started acting and living like they've been rich all their lives. And they go to these little tea parties and started doing things that rich people that been rich, been doing all their lives. And it don't make any kind of sense. We will die one day, and we will leave that money to somebody else. What sense do it make to hoard all of this money, knowing that you're going to the grave one day? None of us, most of us, is not even going to be lucky enough to make it to 100. So the principle of service is, with that money, help the children in some kind of way, for his college degrees, help them get their GEDs, help them figure out how to buy land. All of the things that's important in life, help them if their parents are not doing that. if you have money, give that money away. You can always have enough to take care of your family, your houses, and all of this stuff here. Who needs 4, 5, or 6 cars? You're dealing with egos and unnecessary stuff that don't make any money. One of those cars that cost thousands and thousands of dollars can feed thousands and hundreds of children. People are starving in this country. You got homeless people all over the place that the law is coming up now saying that you is an outlaw for not having a place to stay. They talking about giving you a fine for being out here in Richmond now begging for money. If you begging for money, how in the world is you going to pay a fine?
Come on now.
None of this stuff makes any sense.
At all.
If I become a millionaire overnight, if something happened where I get a lot of money, I will show you. I would not just talk. I will show you. Bill and Melinda Gates right now have a lot of youth that they're getting some of the smartest ones in school and saying, we're going to teach them the computers or whatever, and they're going to be working with us in the future, and then they're going to teach somebody else and teach one, help one, or whatever like this. What Oprah is doing with the school over in Africa, I like it. What she do for is giving money away to certain people, I like it. I feel that anybody in this country that got money need to share that wealth with poor people. There's probably always going to be poor people in this country. This is a capitalistic society. But if we did the way we used to do, like I said in the past in these communities, it wouldn't be so many people in such a desperate state right now. They know it would be some help coming from somebody that had enough to help them, where it was food or clothing or a place to stay. So the principle of service coming from whichever religion that you're in, all religions are saying help people in some kind of way. Help feed them. Go to prison to see them. Be a decent human being. And the only way you can be decent is help people with what you have and share with what you have. All of this egotistical stuff that a lot of the rap community doing now, it just makes us look foolish. You can have your money. Most of the rappers now, you got families. You know you lying on those records about how tough you are and all of this stuff, and you a player and all of this stuff here. I said, most of y'all have married and got girls that you're in love with and you got children. And now you're talking about you want your children to be decent human beings or whatever. Won't you stop playing these games? Master P and his son is doing a noble, beautiful thing right now. They're saying they will never make any more music that's negative and that spread that poison in the black community, and their records are selling. They are proving right now that if you got a good beat or whatever and you got good words in your records, that the people, the youngsters still will buy those records and they still will dance over those records. You got all of these vipers and snakes that's producers or whatever and keep pounding it in your head that you have to say the B word and the N word and all of this stuff to make money, which is a lie. You can be more creative. You are stifling your creativity when you continue to do the same thing over and over again. Where are the visionaries? Where are the people that are rising with wisdom and intelligence and strength and still can make the money and still helping their people at the same time? This is what we're looking for. They will still look up to you.
That's right.
Just put out some beautiful stuff. When you're saying foul stuff, it'll come back to you. And God will bring you down.
Come on now.
Believe me, God will bring you down. You will not continue to have that money and you will not continue to shine. Something bad going to happen to you if you continue to live the way you're living. So I'm not condemning hip-hop. I'm condemning anything that's negative, that's messing these children's heads up and got them killing each other and got them raping their own sisters and disrespecting their mothers and their grandmothers and disrespecting their friends because of some record they done listened to and they think they adhered to the tenets of Tupac or Biggie and all the rest of them. We don't need to keep making heroes out of people that was gangsters. Gangsters shouldn't be heroes. America done did this. They done made Al Capone and Dillinger and all of these people heroes because they killed somebody or because they robbed or whatever. No, let's make the heroes like Ben Carson. Let's make the heroes like Harriet Tubman. People that standing up and willing to give their life up for freedom. Martin Luther King, the last night He knew that he was going to die. And he said that I would not back up. He said, I've been to the mountaintop. He knew that God was taking him somewhere else. And he still didn't back down. That's why we respect his birthday, and that's why we look up to Martin Luther King. He stood up even though he knew he was going to lose his life. Who is greater than that? What human being is greater than that? You going to call a rapper or somebody greater than that?
Come on now. And then another thing, Barack Obama took office in January. I think it was the 20th. You had so many people speaking negative. Well, change ain't come. Do you know how long it took for us to get the right to
Oh
vote?
man, I'm telling you.
Do you know that the man is not going to change the country in 100 days? But if you feel that much compassion about Barack, do your part. How
Right.
about that? If he's starting at the top and we working at the bottom, let's meet somewhere in the middle. Do your service work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Start you a company. They say the small business employ 80% of this country's employees. Do your part. Stop looking at everybody else. Focus on God first and your family, and everything else will follow.
Yeah.
A guy was on my Facebook the other day, and he said, well, I wish Barack Obama would stay off the TV shows and maybe we can get this economy back up and running. Listen, this economy has been falling for almost 10 years. The man is not going to be, I don't care, Superman, the only person that can change it in a day is God. And God wants us to struggle.
Right.
To show us that when you get back to fruitful stuff, you need to learn how to keep it.
Exactly. Exactly.
But Tommy, appreciate you, man.
Yes.
Tommy Cox, Jawan Smith,
Yes.
Tommy Cox Enterprises, the King's Products. Y'all stay tuned. We got a lot more stuff coming for y'all.
A
This
lot
is just
more.
the beginning. We gonna keep dropping hits. Love y'all. Y'all stay blessed. Take it easy.
Peace.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
It's Jawan Smith and the world famous Tommy Cox joint venture, the King's Products, Tommy Cox Enterprise. I think we have a real big issue as far as crime because a lot of the youngsters are not aware of the kind of time that a lot of the crimes carry. I would just like for Mr. Cox to explain, let's say an individual goes out and robs somebody or maliciously wounds somebody or murders somebody. What kind of time does crimes like those carry?
Well, now since parole was abolished in 1995, the time have become like outrageous that they're giving you, and the crimes have become terrible right now for the community, what's happening in the community. But if you get arrested and get convicted of a crime as serious as murder or robbery, the lowest you probably will get would be 20 years. The highest you can get would be life. If you get 20 to 30 to 40 years, you're going to do most of that time. At one time, before 1995, if you go in, you would be able to get good time. And if you get like 20 years, you could do something like maybe 10, 11 years to kill the whole thing. But you could get out way before then with parole or whatever. You could go for parole within 2 or 3 years with a 20-year sentence. Now it's not like that. You go in now, you do not have any type of parole. The time you would have to do, if you get 20 years now, you have to do basically 85% of your time. So if you get 20 years, you're going to do almost all of that time. They're trying to come up with laws now for you to go to school or do certain things inside of the penitentiary to get your time cut. But it is a very stressful situation now. It always been for us going to jail or going to prison, but now it is paramount that you understand that if you get yourself convicted of a crime, that you're going to be putting yourself in a terrible, terrible predicament. And you're going to wind up being an old man if you ever do get out of prison. You know, dealing also with the fools in there that's going to come at you trying to take something from you, trying to still play the gangster role, trying to see how soft you are, how tough you are. If you want to do your time and go to school and try to cut your time down the best way you can, it's still going to be difficult. We're trying to give you all of the things that you're going to face. This ain't like a scare tactic program or anything. This is the actual truth of what prison is and how terrible it is, and we're trying to get you to avoid getting yourself in that predicament and make the right decisions so you won't have to deal with how much time you have to do, how old you're going to be when you get out, the fact that you never produced any children, all of the greatest, most beautiful things in life that you don't have, and you have to sit behind those walls or behind those fences and cry about what you could have did or what could have happened to your life. We are trying to get you to avoid that. We're trying to do everything we can for you to live a productive life, no matter how difficult things is, money-wise, emotional-wise, or family-wise. Nothing is worth being in prison. This is the message we're trying to give you right now.
I have a lot of associates, I wouldn't say friends, but I'm 35, who for their own reasons, they still choose to do the same thing. I feel as though when a person is in active addiction or selling drugs, they're losers. Not in the sense that they're lost to society, but I say losers because if you actually hustling or getting high, everything you have, you're going to lose it. Your car, you're going to lose it. Your self-dignity, you're going to lose it. Your job, you're going to lose it. Your family, you're going to lose it. So, you know, I've been there. It's by the grace of God, I'm not on any substance now, working with Tommy. But I just want to let those who are out there who do hustle, most drug dealers that I've met are actually creative people. They just in the wrong business. But what I would like to share with you guys, especially the guys that are out there doing those violent crimes, because robberies are all up, especially here all over the city. When an individual is convicted of a robbery, and they are sentenced to do prison time, based on that, the level of the offense, how are they usually housed?
Well, now they have a situation when they have two maximum security institutions. One is called Red Onion, the other one is called Wallace Ridge. These supposed to be the institutions that is set up for people, once you're inside, that's committing crimes like stabbing other prisoners or jumping on guards or attempting to escape or selling drugs or something like this here. These places are hell on earth. Let me just give you an example. Both of them, you know, most of the blacks that's going in now, the youngsters are blacks. Majority, we got like 10-1 the blacks against the white prisoners. Most of the blacks that are being sent up there is going up there around white people that have never actually been around black people before. They have been isolated up there in the mountains by the western part that they do not understand. They still dealing with the stereotypes of all we want is white women. You know, our genitals are bigger. All of the things that they've been hearing all their lives from their grandparents or their parents, they are dealing with. And they are very, very racist, and they're very dangerous. We have had situations where 3 people have been killed up there. One major one was Larry Frazier, who was a friend of mine that was shipped from Connecticut up to Wallace Ridge. He was a diabetic, and he went into a diabetic coma or thing where he was kicking his legs because they didn't give him his medication. He was sick on the bus before he got out, and he never supposed to have been sent up there. But when he went into this thing, they shot him something like 20 or 25 times with stunt guns, and he died 2 days later. I have pictures, or we have pictures from his family, that when they shipped his body in a wooden box with a sheet over his body, and was feces and stuff in the box and everything, and this is the way they shipped his body to his family. So these are the type of people, and this is the type of mentality that you're going to be living up under. Right now, in both of these places, there's no windows in the cells. You cannot flush the toilet. Just imagine you living in a cell with another person and they waiting until the feces and the urine floats all the way up to the top of the toilet before they come around in the back and flush the toilet. When they flush the toilet, it blows up and it comes on the bottom bunk, or whoever's living in the bottom bunk. And this is how you're going to be living. You get one word out of the way with one of the guys. They spit in your food, they put feces in your food, they put bugs in your food. All of this stuff, I'm telling you, is the absolute truth. Why would you want to put yourself in a position like this? They have, in both places, they was shooting with rubber bullets. They're saying now they're shooting with real bullets. But there have been hundreds and hundreds of people that have been shot by stepping over a line. They got different lines where you're going to the recreation, you're going to the cafeteria. All of these places, they have certain lines that you cannot step over these lines. If you step over these lines, a guard up in the tower or somewhere above you is going to shoot you. You have had prisoners that lose their eyes, their teeth were shot out, and all of these things. And I know this sounds like something out of a horror movie, but I'm telling you the absolute truth. Do not get yourself in this situation. This is one of the worst things that you can do to your life right now.
I just want to tell the youngsters, if you have made some mistakes, we all have. The good thing about that is if you're alive, you have another chance. If you're dealing with probation and parole, don't run from them. Run to them. If you have a problem, let them people know. They are there to help you. I know it doesn't seem like it, but trust me, those people want to see you be productive because they live in society with you. It's not like your PO just wants to lock you up. They don't want to do that. They will, but they don't. That's not their goal. Their goal is to see people come through the system and be productive citizens so you can be a model for that next person who may be struggling. What I really want to touch on is, for so long, we've become lax with the same structure that we've done to try to curb this problem with our youth. It's not working. We need a different approach. We need different solutions. We have the same problem and we're using the same solution. Nothing is working. I won't say the kids are getting better, but the situation is getting better because the desperation or the need for money is worse. So desperate times call for desperate measures. So now kids are, instead of just stealing out of stores, they've elevated the level of crime to actual robbery. We as a community owe it to our children. Our children don't owe it to us. We owe it to our children to find them something to do, creative, to find them activities, to find them jobs. So Tommy and I, we're working, I'm working in the East End, he's working over here in Northside. We're sponsoring community events, but we need help. We do not have the financial resources to put these things together. We genuinely are doing this for the kids. We've been doing this over a year now, and I know he ain't got no money, and I ain't got no dime from it. And that's why we ask y'all to buy the movies, support the movies, because it will support us in what we're doing. We're at a point right now where we don't want to give up, but if our movies don't sell, it'll be two less people who will be doing this because there's no way we can be productive citizens homeless.
Right.
So if you would, we would just like for you to help. I'm going to leave Tommy the floor. You can go ahead and end this thing, Tommy. Just tell the people, news, children. Oh, big shout out to all the mothers, single mothers in Virginia and Richmond, man, who really support us, man.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The churches, a lot of the grassroots organizations, thank y'all a lot. But Tommy, you go ahead and have the floor, man.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate the fact with the mothers. I know the mothers are going to support us. I want to give a shout out to the mothers over at the Baptist Church with Miss K. I'm supposed to be meeting with Lisa. All of y'all know who Lisa is, Lisa Lake. And we're supposed to be meeting today over at the church. But I just wanted to say that for the mothers that have lost their children, I want to give thanks for y'all coming to the church and helping me and Lily to try to put these things together, to try to save other children from dying unnecessarily and their mothers having to grieve. and go through the traumatic experience of losing a child. This is one of the worst things that can happen to a mother or a father. Me and Jawanza is doing whatever we can to try to prevent this, and that is to just give these children, our main thing is to try to give these children their minds. If you know the story, I think recently on this tape I had mentioned Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch was doing everything he could to stop the slaves from getting killed and lynched, saying that they was products and it was too much money that the slave master was losing, so he came up with a plan. And one of his main plans to control us was to take our minds from us, and for the slave master to control our minds, and for them to put ultimate fear inside of us as a people. If we get our minds back, I believe that as a people we can do whatever we need to do or whatever that we have to do, especially the children. Indoctrination only means teaching the beliefs and concepts and thoughts of a group, of a particular group. And all of us in some way or another is being indoctrinated. But the kids are being indoctrinated by negative rap, by peer pressure in the schools, and by all of the criminal activity that's going on in the communities. They don't see no alternative. They look at pimps and drug dealers as their heroes, and basketball players and athletes. And how many of them really is going to be a Magic Johnson or a Kobe Bryant? How many of them really is going to be in a position where they would be millionaires by playing ball or whatever? We have to deal with things realistically. We have to give them the importance of education, the importance of being tenacious, to rise up and not accept the fact of being a victim of the ghetto. Don't accept that. Do not feel that this is the only thing that you have in life to look forward to. We can do better than that. We're not here, me and this brother is not here, and I heard him recently mention this to a person he was talking to on the phone. We're not trying to tell them so much what to think, because there's always going to be opposition with that. We are trying to teach them how to think, to give them the ability to try to figure things out for themselves. You know, when they go to school, ask the teachers questions, go to the library, get on the computer, you know, search history, find out what capitalism really is, what socialism really is. Don't let anybody just explain something to you and take it face value and say, okay, this is the way it is. If we can get them to get their minds back, then I think we're on the right track. You know?
And see, another thing is this. We out there doing it, you know. A lot of people criticize and, you know, want to judge us, but we don't see you out there. The kids don't know you, and the kids don't respect you. They recognize real. And
right.
So for all the parents, you can think what you want. I mean, no harm or disrespect intended, but your kids love us and they respect us because they know we real. My background is what it is. Like I said, I am who I am. I don't have anything to hide. The news can print what they want. There's nothing I can change about my past. And the same goes for you. If you've done something that you think is horrible in your past, I don't care how much you cry, there's nothing you can do about it. Let it go and move on. Another thing I want to say is you're only responsible for the effort. The outcome is on somebody else.
Right.
As long as you're trying to be productive and trying to tell people, I mean, because we are not, don't get me wrong, we're not out here telling people, don't join gangs or don't do this. No, that's not our focus. We've seen that history has done that and nothing productive comes from that. What we are telling you is this. From our experiences, if you join a gang, this may be your outcome. Right. It doesn't have to be, but 9 times out of 10, it probably will be your outcome. If you choose to use drugs, even if you choose to sell, because my story is, yeah, we all started off getting money. And at the end, most of us started off getting high. So, I mean, there's no easy street nowhere. And I've yet to see, me personally, growing up all over the city of Richmond, I've yet to see any drug dealer retire from the game. I've never seen it. And then I think about this. I think about friends of mine. One in particular, the brother is 35. He may have had a couple of $1 million. He got caught, and they gave him 17 years. I don't care how much money he has. He's going to live in prison like any other prisoner.
Yeah.
He's 35. He got 17 years. He'll be 52 when he come home with no skills, no trade, or nothing. The future doesn't look grim. The future does look grim. But even in a situation like that, your destiny is determined by your by your determination.
Yeah.
If you determine to make it, you'll make it. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and can't do. If God is for you, nobody can tell you anything. Tommy and I have struggled so, man, with these movies. People just don't realize how hard it was just to get to the media with these movies. But by the grace of God, God has placed some of the most incredible people in our lives, man. And it's bananas now. And neither one of us have a job, but by the grace of God, we survive.
Right.
And things are definitely, we working. We're not even looking at Richmond. We're looking beyond Richmond. This message is for the world. The whole world is in a financial recess. The whole world. It's not just Richmond. It's not just the United States. The whole world is in shambles. But if we can start in the community, don't even start on your job. Start in your house first, and work around. Help your neighbor cut his grass. You'll just see the fruits come.
Right.
So, Tommy, you go ahead and touch on it. I'm gonna grab this voice and show them.
Okay, I just want to say also that our greatest asset right now is our children. And so we want to continue to put the best thoughts and ideas in our children, our best thoughts and ideas, and show them some of the good things that we're doing. You know, if they look at us, maybe they can understand that this is what being human is. I am a humanitarian before I am anything else. I believe totally in God, and I believe I couldn't have got this far without God's mercy and God helping me to be in this